Hey, I'm illustrator and director David Hartman. Today, we're going to try out the new COPIC Multiliners while drawing a monster head. So I just ran a Kickstarter for my new book,
The Hunchback of Naughty Dames.
This is the second volume in my Monster Drive-In comic series. So one of the Kickstarter rewards for purchasing the comic was also being able to upgrade to a 9x12 original drawing monster head. And it just so happens around the same time COPIC had reached out to me about these new multi-liners that they're putting out. Now, they're not sponsoring the video or anything, but they did send me these free to check out, which was very timely with me having to draw these monster heads. So COPIC sent over this awesome box that was filled with pins, including their bold point pins, their finer point pins. They also had a special, exclusive, limited edition color of turquoise, which is one of my favorite colors. So I'm excited to actually try those in this drawing. They also gave me a box of multicolor multiliners. And also these pins have interchangeable tips and are refillable, which is new. All right, so let's just jump into it. Whenever I draw these monster heads, I don't really do a pencil structure underneath. I kind of want to just see where things go, where the pins take me, just whatever I'm feeling at the time. So I just kind of go in and do kind of a thicker contour line where I'm using the COPIC brush pen for this and just trying to get like a basic shape down. Now I'm going to switch over to some of their other pins, like a 0.5 or the 1, and still thicker pin, but just start putting in some details and refining some of these shapes and what it's going to be. Whoever's getting this picture is going to get 2 heads. There's going to be a little worm creature coming out of his mouth too, who is he's actually the one that controls this creature. So when I was in college, I used to use these things called rapidographs. They were kind of like drafting pens. But when I was doing my comic books for myself and stuff, I was using crow quill and dip pens and stuff. The ink would kind of spread. It would spread out all over the paper.
We're on 1,000 planets and spreading out.
But I'm left-handed, and I would smear everything. I'm really heavy-handed and messy, and it just couldn't get it to work for what I needed. It would just take me probably 4 times as long as I felt comfortable doing these drawings. And I was at the end, there would just be ink everywhere. And then I'd have just as much whiteout as I did ink on the drawing. But then I found about these things called rapidographs, which were just refillable ink pens, drafting pens that had, a static tip on there. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm still being able to ink my comics, but it's much more controlled for me because it's like using a pen. And I used to love those in college and stuff. Then, there was microns and fountain pentel, which I loved. But, those things, you'd go through them like crazy. It always cost me a lot because I go through a lot of ink, and I just have to buy those things by the box full. So when COPIC sent these, I was actually really surprised to see that they actually have removable tips and refillable ink, which is pretty cool because it takes me back to those rapidograph days where I can have this kind of clean mechanical pen that's not going to get ink everywhere, but at the same time I can just refill it as opposed to buying a case full of pins that I'm going to end up throwing out or use the plastic to create costumes. So now let's get into this monster. I wanted to draw, just a weird kind of zombie guy, got some stitches, lots of wrinkles and pustules and just kind of gross stuff. I'm just having fun at this point. I just like playing with textures and trying to create textures and really just letting the line point to where I'm going. But then I got to this little worm creature I put in the mouth, and really he is the boss of this creature. He is the one in control. You know, this guy, you know, he had a lot of potential when he was younger, this worm. You know, he had a little stint in Hollywood. You might have seen him in a couple movies. But, you know, he figured that's not for him, you know. He wanted his own place, and he found this zombie, moved in, and just started taking control, and really just kind of, you know, letting this guy be kind of like a trailer home of flesh. And he would just live in there and control this thing. And he's probably the happiest he's ever been. I'm really jealous of this guy. So now I'm really getting into some more of the details of this drawing, and there's not much to say here except I just love, again, drawing texture and all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw on some soothing sounds of Zorgon, my alter ego for my music that I do on the side. So enjoy this pleasant, relaxing song by Zorgon. All right, just wanted to interrupt the music here for a second to say this is where I'm going to try out their new limited edition turquoise color from COPIC. I really kind of enjoyed this color, so I had to put some into this monster. Most of these drawings are going to be black and white with limited color, but I really wanted to try this one. So whoever's getting this monster head, you're going to get a little extra treat with some color thrown in there. I also wanted to use some of their other colors as well, so there's a lot of extra detail and veins and stuff here.
Now back to the soothing sounds of Zorgon.
All right, that wraps it up for this monster head. I really enjoyed these pins. They actually went down much smoother than I thought they would. Like the old rapidographs sometimes would bleed or the ink would shoot out and be inconsistent. But these were really consistent ink flow, went on really smooth, and I actually quite enjoyed drawing with these. And I'll probably continue to use them on some of the other heads and sketch cards I need to do. Check out the Kickstarter for The Hunchback of Naughty Dames. The link will be in the description below. So thanks for checking this out. I'm going to have some more videos coming up soon. Plus, if anyone's been a fan of my older short films like Magic House and Freaks of the Moon and all that stuff, I'm going to have a treat for all of you guys as well in the coming months. All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later. See ya.
The Art of Monsters.